John chapter 14, verse 27. Very simply, it says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, nor let it be fearful." Now here at the beginning, Christ, they're here at the Lord's Supper. He's talking to them, comforting them, letting them know that everything's going to be okay. He knows that His time is coming. He knows what's about to happen. And the greeting that He gives, or the words that He says here, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you," is a fairly regular greeting. But when He says it in this sense, He's giving it a new meaning. In Hebrew, the word shalom is used to say hello and goodbye. And basically, it means peace be with you. In the Strong's Concordance, shalom has a lot of other meanings other than just peace. Shalom means completeness. It means completeness, wholeness, health, peace, welfare, safety, soundness, tranquility, prosperity, perfectness, fullness, rest, and harmony. That's what the word shalom means, and that's what He's saying here to them. He's wishing all of these things upon them. It's a lot more complicated than just peace that He's leaving with them, or peace that He's giving to them. But He's giving them this whole list of things here. The completeness, wholeness, health, peace, welfare, safety, soundness, tranquility, prosperity, perfectness, fullness, rest, and harmony. He's saying, I'm giving this to you. I'm leaving this with you. This is from me. It's the peace of God. A peace that surpasses all understanding, that goes beyond what human words can describe and what our minds can even begin to comprehend. It's the peace of God. A peace that nothing on earth can give. A peace that nothing on earth can provide. No matter what you do or where you go, no matter what you hear or what you see, no matter what you feel, you will never feel the peace of God unless God gives it to you. It's a peace that can calm our inner storms. A lot of times when it comes time to do something for God, we feel an indecisiveness or an uncertainty. We have a hard time sometimes sticking to what we know is right because we just aren't completely sure. But even when God tells you to do something that's completely out of the norm or completely against what you would consider to be sane or rational, God can give you a peace that can calm that storm. I believe I've told it before, and it's definitely something that I do like to tell every once in a while. But I'm reminded of a time, probably about 5 years ago or so. It was during the summer, time to go to the youth camp in North Carolina, and things hadn't exactly gone well financially. I had about enough money to make it there, around $100. And the gas that it would take, the times I had to fill up, would cost around $90. So I would get there with $10 to spare. I didn't know what to do. But for some reason I felt like I needed to just go and trust God. I felt God was telling me to go. Now I know I probably could have asked my parents for help and they would have given it to me. But I think this was something that God wanted to use as a lesson for me. So He wanted me to just do it. I didn't tell anyone the situation. No one knew. And I left. Drove 8 hours to North Carolina with $100. I got there, had the $10 left over, a little bit of change. I got there a day or two early, had to have something to eat. So there went the rest of the money. Now I'm 3 states away from home with just a small little handful of change. But through it all, God gave me a peace to know that what was going on was what He wanted. It was a certainty. The decision was easy to make because the peace was there. During the week, I was able to make videos for the camp. And God told me that it was time to start selling these videos. When I did, the money came in. The guy had helped me. I told him that if he would, I'd split it with him, half and half. I left the camp with $90. And my aunt filled up my tank. I didn't have to ask. I didn't have to beg. I just had to trust God. Now, if you're mapping out a trip, my suggestion is to make sure you have the money to go. But in a time like that, where normally we would be filled with an indecisiveness or an uncertainty, where we would have a faithlessness about us, God has the ability to give us a peace that can go beyond anything that we can understand. A peace that can take that uncertainty and turn it into concrete decisiveness. A peace that can take a shaky, wavering faith and turn it into a stone, a rock, to build a relationship with God on. That's what the peace of God can do with the inner storms that we have. It can take a weak Christian and turn it into a warrior for Christ. That is the peace that God can give to us. It's not just about feeling good. It's not just about having a joy inside. It's not just about the things that just make you want to move on to the next day. But that peace is something that can not be explained, that can give us strength and a certainty and readiness to find. The peace of God can calm your inner storm. But not only that, but the peace of God can calm your fears. The fear of the unknown. What's coming? What's going to happen? When I get there, how am I going to be able to make it back home? How am I going to be able to make the trips to the store to pick up the things that I know I'm going to have to pick up? How am I going to have the money to be able to afford the things that I need? How am I going to be able to meet the bills that I have coming? How am I going to be able to make it through all of this without just losing my mind? The fear of failure. What's going to happen if I take this step and everything just falls apart? What's going to happen if I put myself out there? And nothing goes the way that I thought it should. The fear of regret. What's going to happen if I do this? And it's one of those things that haunts me for the rest of my life. And God's peace is a peace that can take your fears, take your storms, and turn them into nothing. The things that we struggle with in life, the problems that we have, God's peace can wipe away. This morning, I don't know what you're dealing with in your life. I don't know if you have bills that may be piling up on your table. I don't know if you have just situations that you may be facing and you're afraid of it because you don't know what's coming, or you're afraid that you may fail or fall. But if you're going the direction that God wants you to go, I can tell you for sure that God's peace can be given to you. A peace that can take away your fears and calm your storms and let you know that the direction you're heading is the right direction to go. People may look at you and question you. People may think that you're foolish or heading in the wrong direction. People may think that driving halfway across the country to go to a camp isn't worth the risk. But God's peace will be there. God's peace will pick you up, will help you know that everything is all right. This morning I hope and I pray that each and every one of you have God's peace in whatever you're doing. No matter how hard or difficult it may be, all things are possible with God behind us, which is great to know. But it's even better to feel the peace that says that it's true. I love the first two phrases that he has here. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. But he doesn't just stop there. He goes on and says, not as the world gives, do I give to you. When the world gives us things, the world is able to take those things away. Wealth and power, fame and fortune, all comes and goes at the drop of a hat. One moment you're on top of the world. The next moment you're scraping through the gutter. People are remembered for huge and great accomplishments one day, and their name isn't even spoken, mentioned, or understood the next. But God isn't like that. When God gives us a peace, it's a peace that this world cannot take away. It's a peace that Satan cannot take away. It's a peace that man cannot take away. It's a peace that cannot be taken away, but it can be given back. And a lot of times we have that peace and we have that assurance, and we have the knowledge that the direction that we're going is right, and the things that we are doing is right, but we begin to question and doubt. We begin to worry and fret. We let that fear creep back in, and we let go of the peace that God has given to us. It's very easy to do. Before you know it, you're headed away from the direction that God's been leading you. The relationship that you've built with Him begins to drift away. It becomes harder and harder to find His presence. All because we let go of the peace that He gave us. A lot of times we pray and ask God for help with money, ask Him for happiness, ask Him for relationships with those around us, when in fact we just need to say, God, give me your peace. Give me your peace. Let me feel that comfort that only you can give. This morning, if you're going through a hard time, that's what you need. You don't need some answer written out on a piece of paper and handed to you to tell you what direction to go. You need the peace of God in your life. This morning, if you're trying to run and search for things that you don't have, if you're trying to find this happiness that you can't find, you don't need a direction to the nearest entertainment. You need God's peace in your life. This morning, if you're facing a tough decision, a difficult direction, if you want to have a better relationship with God, you need God's peace. That peace that passes all understanding. That's what you need. And once you have it, hold on to that peace. And never, ever let it go. No one can take it away from you, but you can give it up. Do you have the peace? Or are you still searching?